You know, some stories are so dark, they feel like they're ripped straight from a horror movie. But the terror we're going to talk about today, well, it's all too real. We're going to delve into the hunt for a serial killer known only as the West Mesa Bone Collector. So picture this. It's February 2nd, 2009. The stark, sprawling landscape of the West Mesa right outside Albuquerque, New Mexico. A woman is just out walking her dog. A totally normal day. But then the dog finds something. A bone. A human bone. And that single grim discovery, it would unravel a mystery that had been buried deep in that sand for years. As investigators started digging, a really chilling timeline emerged. See, between 2003 and 2004, women were just vanishing from the city. Satellite photos would later show the last signs of digging out there in 2005, and then silence. The killings just seemed to stop in 2006. For 3 long years, the desert held on to its awful secret, until that one bone brought it all crashing into the light. That one bone led investigators to a mass grave, and the final count was just staggering. 11 victims. 11 women and girls, plus one unborn child, all buried together in the same desolate patch of earth. It's so easy to get lost in the numbers, right? But we have to remember, these were people. They had families, they had hopes, they had futures that were violently stolen from them. They weren't just victims, they had names. Let's honor them now by speaking their names. Monica Candelaria, Victoria Chavez, Silania Edwards, who was only 15 years old, Doreen Marquez, Veronica Romero, Jamie Barella, also just 15, Evelyn Salazar, Virginia Colovan, Julie Niato, Cinnamon Elks, and Michelle Valdez, who was 4 months pregnant when she was murdered. Investigators pretty quickly identified a heartbreaking pattern. These victims, they all shared a tragic vulnerability. Most were young Hispanic women caught in the incredibly dangerous worlds of drug addiction and sex work. This made them easy targets for a predator, someone who was hunting on the fringes of society, knowing these women were less likely to be missed right away. As the police were piecing this all together, a really deeply unsettling question started to emerge. Okay, they had found 11 bodies, but was that it? Was that the true extent of the horror? Or was this just one of the killer's dumping grounds? And, you know, that fear wasn't just speculation. It turns out an Albuquerque detective had already been tracking a list of missing women with similar backgrounds who vanished between 2001 and 2006. At least 9 women from that list are still unaccounted for. This raises the absolutely horrifying possibility of more victims still out there, waiting to be found. Of course, the media gave the unknown killer a name, and it was a chilling one: the West Mesa Bone Collector. And the search for this monster became one of the largest and most complex homicide investigations in the history of New Mexico. So a year after the discovery, with the case starting to go cold, police made a really desperate move. They released a series of photographs to the public. Now, they never said where these photos came from, but the images themselves were deeply disturbing. They showed unidentified women, and some of them appeared to be unconscious or worse. You can just imagine the shockwave of fear these photos sent through the community. Who were these women? Were they survivors, maybe witnesses? Or were they more unidentified victims from some other unknown grave? The mystery just got deeper and deeper. Now, while no one has ever been officially charged with these murders, the investigation has zeroed in on several men over the years. These are the prime suspects in the hunt for the bone collector. The first prime suspect is a man named Lorenzo Montoya. And the circumstantial evidence against this guy it's just incredibly strong. He lived less than 3 miles from the burial site. He had a known history of brutally attacking sex workers. He even bragged to his coworkers about burying women on the mesa. And maybe most chilling of all, the West Mesa murders appear to have stopped right after Montoya himself was killed in 2006, while he was trying to dispose of another victim's body. And if you want to know what was going on in his head, just listen to his own words. He once threatened a girlfriend with this chillingly specific promise: "I will kill you and bury you in lime." Now, that doesn't just show a capacity for violence, it shows a premeditated knowledge of how to get rid of a body. But maybe the most horrifying piece of evidence against Montoya was found in his own home, on his personal camera. Police discovered a home recording that's only ever been partially released to the public. So what was on it?
Well, according to police reports, the video shows Montoya with an unidentified woman who appears to be lifeless. The video then cuts to black, but the audio keeps going, and the sounds are sickeningly procedural. You hear the unmistakable rip of duct tape, the crinkle of a large garbage bag. It sounds exactly like someone preparing a body for disposal.
But here's the thing, Montoya wasn't the only suspect. Police also had a very strong interest in a man named Joseph Blia, a convicted serial rapist. His DNA was found on another murdered sex worker in the city. A nursery tag that was discovered near the grave was traced back to a nursery that Blia went to all the time. And a former cellmate claimed Blia called the victims trashy after admitting he had hired them.
And yet, despite this mountain of circumstantial evidence against Montoya and these really compelling links to Blia, no one has ever been charged for the West Mesa murders. The case remains officially unsolved. So today, more than a decade after that first bone was found, the case is cold. The families of those 11 women and one unborn child are still completely without justice, and the desert continues to hold its terrible secret.
But the search for answers isn't over, not by a long shot. A reward of $100,000 is still being offered for any information that finally leads to the arrest and conviction of the person, or maybe persons, responsible.
In a really powerful effort to reclaim this ground from its dark past, the community transformed the burial site. In 2020, it became the Women's Memorial Park. It's now a quiet, solemn place to honor the victims and their families. A place of absolute horror has become a place of remembrance.
But even with this beautiful memorial, a shadow still lingers. An unanswered question still hangs over the city of Albuquerque in that vast, silent desert. Who is the West Mesa Bone Collector? Was it Lorenzo Montoya, who took his secrets with him to the grave? Was it Joseph Blia, a monster already behind bars for other crimes? Or is it possible the real killer is still out there? And that is the question at the heart of this terrifying American mystery.